Hey, Prime members, you can listen to Crime and Sports early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Download the app today.
In the depths of an Atlanta forest, a clash between activists and authorities ends in tragedy. I'm Matthew Scher, and on my new podcast, We Came to the Forest, we expose the hidden truths behind a shootout that left one activist dead and countless lives forever changed. Binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest ad-free on Wondery Plus.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Crime and Sports. Thank you so much for joining us. I am James Pietragallo, here with my co-host.
I am Jimmy Whisman.
We can't thank you enough for joining us again. Thank you. We are happy to be here. Before we get started, real quick, please rate, review on iTunes. Thanks for the people who've done it in the past couple of weeks. We really appreciate it. You have no idea how much that helps out. It takes 30 seconds. If you like the show, please do it and help us out a little bit there. Thank you so much. Also, to the Patreon page is up and running, patreon.com/crimeinsports. Go on there. There's some cool rewards if you want to throw us a few bucks. If not, no big deal. Sit back and chill, and we'll hang out with you here. And one person who did do that, and a person that also has been corresponding with us, and we just love this guy, a crazy, crazy Australian man by the name of Mark Busby.
Busby!
We love this guy. It's hilarious. So thanks for the support, man. We really appreciate it. Thanks for spreading us across the... I was going to call it the dark continent, but that's not it. Yeah, it's not the dark, it's the bright continent, I would say. The white continent, more like it. This guy actually told us that he hopes to get in traffic jams in the morning so he can get a whole show in, which you got to love someone for that.
Nobody prays for that. That's
nobody prays
awesome.
for that. Nobody prays for that. And also, one more quick thing. July 6th, you can catch myself and Jimmy at the Tempe Improv. Yeah. It's kind of a crime and sports night. No podcast that night, but we're going to be doing stand-up. I'm headlining Jimmy's feature, and so lots of
jokes.
Lots of time and dick jokes with the two of us. Promo code Crime and Sports if you want to get in for free on us. Please come on, and we love you, and we'd be happy to see you there. Now, into the crime in the sports. We have an update for you guys.
So awesome.
An update from episode number 5 of Violent Forrest Gump.
Yes.
The Jimmy Snuka story, the happenings of Jimmy Superfly Snuka.
So awesome.
We have an update.
We're so early into this thing, and we already get to give an update. It's so cool.
Because the trial was going, or they were trying to find out when we left off with Jimmy. The cliffhanger was we were trying to find out if Jimmy was competent to stand trial or if he had taken too many blows to the head and made his brains into pudding at this point. So turns out Jimmy Superfly Snuka has been ruled jello-brained by the state of Pennsylvania. It's so funny, too, because he got away with this for 33 years by dummying up.
Yeah,
That's all
just by saying, I don't know.
When it happened, they said, act like a dumb savage, like you don't know shit, and it worked for 33 years, and it still worked, and now he's getting off.
It's working forever.
This fucking guy. So if you're ever accused of murder, or if cops ever come to your girlfriend, or you come to your house or your hotel room in western Pennsylvania, and they find your girlfriend unresponsive, unconscious, with a yellow fluid dripping from her mouth.
You don't even speak English.
You don't know what happened, where you are, what you're doing, and who you are. Keep that up for 3 or 4 decades, and you'll get away with it.
It's over.
Anyway, that's our scum update.
I love it.
Now, let's get into our scum of the week.
Yes.
And this guy, whoo, boy, Jimmy, this is a trip. I say this all the time, but man, this was a quite a weaving tale. I'm telling you, we were just going deep on this one. And it is Jack Roland Murphy.
Yes.
Now, guys.
That is a white fucking nerdy name.
He's extremely white, this
Jack
guy.
Roland Murphy.
He's as white as they come,
Jesus.
Jack Roland Murphy, and a nice Irish boy. This guy here...
Roland. Sounds like he has a Rolex. It's a fake one, but it's a Rolex.
Yeah, this is now, some of you might have know about this story because one of the crimes is extremely kind of a famous thing from... It's the greatest jewel heist in American history he was a part of. So some of you might have known this. There was actually a feature film about his little portion of his life, not the dirty part of his life, just kind of the glamorous part. And he was a professional surfer, so we're getting a totally different kind. We haven't been in the water yet. We haven't been anywhere near it, so we're going into the water here. He's surfing. We're not going to talk
skateboarder. That's as close as it gets.
Yeah, we're not going to talk much about his surfing career because it's really kind of hard to there's really not a lot to talk about there. Right. So it's mainly just all crime this week. And let's get started with Jack Roland Murphy. His date of birth was actually hard to find. It's 1938. I believe it's May 26th.
1938?
1938 he was born. So this is a tale. We're going to get into the 60s and like some cool like 60s cat burglar jewel heist things. And you're going to like this guy for a while. You really are, for a little while. And then you're not going to like him as much anymore. So he's born May 26, 1938 is the best we could get. Los Angeles, California, he's born in. He lives in California all around. His father's a construction worker.
Right.
And so they kind of go where the work is, kind of a thing. Moves to Pennsylvania at 17. Moves all around before that, all around California.
Gotcha.
Goes to high school in Oceanside near San Diego.
Nice place.
Yeah, nice place. Goes there. His dad, like I said, is a construction worker. He's a real smart kid. Okay. When he moves to Pennsylvania, it's really, really noted how smart he is.
That's a bummer.
Yeah, he's good at everything, this guy. He's just good at it. Yeah, he moves to Western Pennsylvania from San Diego.
From fucking Oceanside.
And he's a surfer, too.
Where at in Pennsylvania?
It's Western Pennsylvania.
They don't even say what town?
Allegheny something.
Oh, some shithole.
It's like where Sally McNeil is from, like some mountain coal dump. And no offense to Western Pennsylvania, but you guys fucking know you'd rather live in San Diego.
Right,
all
absolutely.
Of you. Especially if you were really into surfing. Yeah. I would think you'd be a little more inclined to be near the beach. Instead, he goes there. He's also a really good tennis player. In high school in 1955 is when he graduates.
And he's going somewhere that's frozen.
His senior year in Pittsburgh, he wins the Western Pennsylvania International Allegheny. So it's the WPIAL Singles Tennis Championship representing his high school. He was that good. I mean, he was great even at that. He could have played for a state title. It made him eligible, but he didn't show up for the match. Which,
what the fuck?
This guy's a flaky kind of a cat, as we'll get into a lot. He's also very good he's a very good violinist also.
This fucker's multi-talented.
Yeah, there's a rumor.
He can do everything.
It's said that he played in the Pittsburgh Symphony Orchestra, played violin for them a bit when he was 17.
Right.
He immediately, his violin teacher or his music teacher in high school said that he was, immediately came in and took first chair, which was odd for a guy from out of town. Like, that's how good he was.
Wow.
He's just, this is a extremely talented, smart, charismatic guy that could have done anything he wanted in the world. So it's so fitting that we get to cover his complete and total just
disaster.
Journey down the path to fuckery. So he graduates from McKeesport High School in 1955.
Oh, McKeesport. That's where he's at.
McKeesport. Yeah. I don't know where the hell that is, but
it's a shithole.
It's a shithole. Yeah. It's Western Pennsylvania. What do you want? You know what I mean? It's terrible here. So graduates from McKeesport High School in 1955. Western Pennsylvania shit dump.
Right.
I'm sure. Sorry if you're from there, but we're not sorry because you fucking choose to live there. What do you want from us? It's horrible. I've been
find somewhere better.
I'm not Western, but I have family in Scranton. So I know it's horrible. Yeah. Move, people.
I watched
Get the hell out of
Office.
there. Oh, it's so bad. So he graduates. He enrolls in the School of Business Administration at the University of Pittsburgh. So he's going to go on, further his education. He's smart, got great grades. Everybody said he was extremely intelligent. That lasts for 6 weeks.
Holy shit.
And he drops out of school. He said it was cold and miserable.
You knew it was like that.
And he's like, I don't have to be here anymore. So he says,
I can do anything.
Yeah, he tells everybody he's going back to California.
Yeah.
And there's a little period for about a year and a half where we don't really know what the hell he was doing. He kind of just kicked around. He was working as he did tower circus dives. Because he was a diver too. Right. He would do high dive circus shit for
into
shows.
A small pond.
He did a little stunt work in Hollywood that he was going back and forth for.
It's a wild train to go on. It's an interesting path.
He claims to have played violin on the Carson Show and the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson, which I don't know if that's true or not, and I don't know if IMDb
can't validate
that.
It anywhere.
Yeah, we can't validate it, but I thought that was an interesting thing to throw in there. Then he moves to Miami in 1957.
Better place for him.
This is where he gets settled, 1957, he moves there. He starts working at a hotel. Yeah. He's stacking pool chairs. He's painting shit. He's also working in their diving show. That sort of thing.
So he's doing odd jobs.
He's doing odd jobs. He's 19. He's hanging out in Miami on the beach. He's picking up girls left. And this guy is a playboy, first of all. He has got the life for a while. Right. Right now he's living in Miami. He meets a hotel guest named Gloria Sostek, whose father... Yeah, her father owned the Latin Quarter nightclub, which is a huge nightclub there.
Really?
So for a musician, he meets her, and she's also very wealthy. They meet.
He's first chair violin. Let's go.
He's good. So they hang out for 9 days and get married.
Wow.
Yeah, so he's like, I'm going to lock this down quick.
She's got money. I can play the violin. I'm going to fuck her and make it.
Let's do this.
Make it real.
And
it's the 50s, too.
It's the 50s. That's what you do. You get married. It's romantic.
You go sit on the beach and play some sweet song for her, and all of a sudden you guys are married.
That's considered romance in the 50s. It's not considered aberrant behavior.
I didn't realize, like, before when we were talking about Pittsburgh, we're talking about
50s.
The 50s Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
That's not a good Pennsylvania.
No, I mean,
it's much worse now.
There's probably jobs there then. There's probably like steel
coal
mill
mines
jobs
and
coal mines and steel mills and shit. But I mean, outside of that, miserable.
50s Pennsylvania. Fuck that.
No internet.
None.
Just sitting there.
You can't even escape.
Yeah, three channels.
Steelers aren't even good.
What's on the Dumont network tonight? Sitting there, Jesus, I'm fucking miserable. So they're together they're married for 5 years. These two. They divorce after 5 years. They have 2 sons.
All right.
During this time, he wins the National Hurricane Surfing Championship twice.
How about that?
Yeah, he wins some award. He's like the best surfer in the state of Florida or some shit. He's a great surfer.
All right.
He goes back and forth to Hawaii to compete.
And this is back when they had like big ass boards. And they weren't like doing crazy tricks and stuff. What made a great surfer in the 50s?
I don't know what made a great surfer. That's like skateboarding
like you
too.
Stood up?
You could go up toward the top of the pool in the late 70s. Like, ooh, look at him.
Look
Whereas
at him
then
go.
you had to fly out.
Right.
Yeah. But this is kind of probably like that. But he touted that he single-handedly brought surfing from Hawaii to the mainland and made it popular here. That's his claim.
All right.
He's got an ego, this guy, as we'll get into.
It.
He's got quite the ego.
Well, he's good at everything. He can bet a chick and marry her in 9 days. The man's amazing.
A rich chick who's got her shit together.
She has a pick of the boys.
He's good at tennis. He takes up surfing. Good at that. He'll play the violin. He's good at that. He's good at we'll see later on. He takes up art. He's good at that, sort of. He's a douchey artist, but you know what I mean. He remarries quickly after they get divorced. This is around 62.
All right.
He's quickly remarried. He had opened up a surf shop before that. So his surf shop then goes under. He starts fucking off his wife, and his marriage breaks up. He really begins quite the playboy lifestyle here at this point.
With what money?
Okay, this is what we're going to get into here. Right. This goes from...
It's like you have nothing. You're out of college. You clearly have no money. You somehow get enough money to open a surf shop.
I assume his...
Right, the axe.
Yes,
right.
Yeah.
It folds. Your fucking wife at home is screaming at you, obviously.
I think he's making money from, like, surfing shows and exhibitions. Right. Like, he's got a name.
Right.
Like, he probably can, like, get sponsorship deals in Miami for, like, you know...
Doing, like, a Superfly splash or something.
Yeah, he's
diving and finding corners
Murph
at the
the
bottom.
Surf.
Right.
Murph the Surf is his
that
nickname.
What they called him?
They call Murph the Surf is his nickname. That's
hilarious.
What everyone still calls him to this day.
Wow.
Murph the Surf. So, I mean, Murph the Surf could go do a grocery store opening. And, hey, it's Murph the Surf. I mean,
by now he's
that
a
kind of
celebrity.
guy. He's got some notoriety around the beach scene.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not for like a housewife probably, but like if you hang out by the beach, you know who Murph the Surf is, type of thing.
He's early Tony Hawk.
Kind of, yeah. That's a good way to put it. Yeah. I picture him like Tom Cruise in Cocktail, like hanging out down at the beach trying to pick up rich middle-aged
in a white collared shirt with the sleeves rolled up,
white linen shirt. You know what I mean? At this point, we always have these serendipitous meetings of two people that don't fucking belong together because it's bad for society. Like when it's like Goosis meets the one guy they get together. It's like, oh no, this is going to be ugly. Even Ray and Sally McNeil should have never got together.
It's fucking Joe Jackson and Tom Paine. How does that happen?
Too. That's crazy. I'm calling this guy the White Tom Paine.
Awesome.
And through this whole thing, no rape, by the way. Gotcha. I'll tell you guys up front, there is no rape in this. There's no forcible sex at all in this episode.
I don't want to say hymen.
No hymen, no nothing like that. So you guys can rest easy. Just death. That's it.
That's the last of that word.
Less than rape now. So anyway, he meets a guy named Alan Kuhn. Okay.
All right.
Kuhn.
Okay.
So Alan Kuhn. Now Kuhn is kind of a playboy. He's a swim instructor.
Oh, boy.
From the sounds of it, he's a gigolo, basically. He sounds like he's going around swim instructing some middle-aged woman and then, getting bought
fingering
some shit.
a 56-year-old and getting some free shit.
He also has a little thing for stealing jewelry.
Awesome.
He's also a former hotel worker that got his introduction to the jewelry game, and his first heist, Alan Kuhn, was paid $180,000 for his part in a jewelry operation. So he was kind of like, this isn't a bad deal.
No, that sounds great.
Yeah, and you get a guy...
$180,000 in the 50s.
In the 50s.
That's a big deal.
Early 60s. Yeah. That's huge. Yeah. So now we
you can buy a car for $2,000.
That's what I mean. You could buy a town for that much back then. I mean, it's ridiculous. So he is obviously Murph the Surf is impressed with this guy because he wants to be a playboy and he thinks he's hot shit. So he's like, hey, what the fuck? He's hanging out on the beach.
Ocean's 11 the shit out of this.
He's driving a Cadillac convertible, this coon guy. He's got a yacht. He's got a speedboat. He's got, he's just fancy, you know? And this guy's like, he's banging all the broads. I mean, it's forget about it. It's like a beach movie, except they're just slaying everything they want. All voluntary, by the way, unlike our last 2 episodes.
Like the chick from the Disney movies with Avalon.
I have no idea. Disney movies?
No, from the Mickey Mouse Club.
Oh, Annette Funicello.
Yeah.
They probably double teamed Annette Funicello. These two. And she was happy with it.
She was thrilled.
Happy about it. That's how cool these guys were. So they start stealing jewelry, and his quote on the whole thing, and we'll do it's a short one, but we'll do in their own words here to start out with. He just said about the jewel heist, he said, it didn't hurt anyone, and insurance would cover it.
Beautiful.
That's it. So, hey, why not? Let's have a good time.
It's a victimless crime.
Let's have a good time. Who gives a shit, right? So Miami PD in 1964 starts keeping an eye on them.
All right.
They're beach bums too. They're hanging out. They're watching them for about 6 months. They're picked up a few times for vagrancy. Basically, it sounds like they're just hanging out.
Drunk on the beach.
Yeah, just being general jerk-offs and all that sort of thing.
Peeing in a trash can or something.
Yeah, so I mean, they keep an eye on them, and then they disappear all of a sudden out of nowhere in 64.
Where'd they go?
Where'd they go? Well, Alan Kuhn, Murph the Surf here, and a man named Roger Clark, they head on up to New York. And now this is Kuhn's idea. He's the brains of the robbery organization here. Now, they head up to New York, Midtown Manhattan. They find a hotel called the Cambridge Hotel, which is about 10 blocks away from the Museum of Natural History.
Oh, boy.
Which, when I was a kid, was like one of my favorite places. We used to go on field trips all the time down there. It was the best. You go on the bus. It was fucking tremendous. So, right there in Manhattan.
I've seen Night at the Museum.
Exactly. That's Night at the Museum, right? That's what we're talking about
My kids love that shit.
Exactly. So, they stay there. They start casing the joint. They go all the time. They start buying pamphlets on, about all the different gems that they have there, and start buying books about them in the gift shop.
Point Break shit unfolding.
Yes, this Murph the Surf is Patrick Swayze. I feel like he's what Patrick Swayze in Point Break was based on. You really got to really just bone up on your 80s, early 90s movies to understand what the fuck we're talking about here.
To keep up with this shit.
But actually, they just came out with another Point Break.
Yeah.
Whoever was the lead bad guy in that Point Break, which I haven't seen because I'm sure it was a pile of shit, that was originally Patrick Swayze. Right. That's probably who he was based on as Murph the Surf. Okay, gotcha. He's a cool beach guy. But anyway, they're in New York. They're at the Cambridge Hotel. They're throwing lavish parties. They're banging everything in sight. They're every girl they can find. They're hooking up with. They have a suite. Awesome. They have all this money from jewel heist.
They're enjoying New York.
They're enjoying it. They're having a good time. And while they're having a good time, they're also casing out the Museum of Natural History.
Fantastic.
And especially the jewels. They notice the security there is horrible.
It's lax.
Terrible security, very lax.
Yeah.
They see open windows and offices in the jewel room that are above it, and they start thinking about
sleeping security guards and shit.
They start making maps of the place and all this sort of thing. So this goes on for 10 weeks. 10 weeks they're casing
and
this
nobody
joint.
Picks up on this. How dumb are those security
There's
guards?
tons of people coming in. It's New York.
But for 10 weeks you don't see.
And they probably send one guy in one day, the other guy in the other day. I mean,
but some tan fucks just constantly coming in and out of here.
Bunch of tan guys with like sandy, sun-bleached hair just coming in. Hey,
they all smell like Malibu rum.
Yeah. It's terrible. Copper tone dripping from their asses. So they're just planning their little shopping trip basically. So they do all this, and then finally this comes to a head on October 29th, 1964. This is the big heist, okay?
Awesome.
They break into the Museum of Natural History,
all
right? And this is like there's no security. It's insane. They one keeps watch while the other two scale up a 10-foot wall. Okay, they scale up
10 feet.
10-foot wall. I mean, these guys are
Spider-Man.
They are really, really into this, man. This is cool shit.
They want the money. They really want it.
This is a movie. Yeah. You would see this in a movie and be like, oh, they're going to do like a jewel heist thing, and then they're going to fall through the glass ceiling like they do in every jewel heist thing and fall and go, catch their breath on the tile floor. It's that sort of thing.
Go find the crown with all the jewels on it.
This is where they got this from. This is all of these movie jewel heists. This is where it came from. This is everything, man. And I'm not even kidding. This was a huge cultural event here.
Fantastic.
So they scale a 10-foot wall. They force a door open up there. Right. They get in. They get their way down to a 5th floor office with an open window that overlooks the jewel room.
Yeah.
gem room.
Yeah.
And they saw that they keep these windows open about 2-3 inches for ventilation, apparently.
All right.
They noticed that, and they were like, that might be something. So they just popped the windows open. They shimmy their way down 5 stories into the... not 5 stories. It's on the 5th floor, but the jewel room's down. But it's a high ceiling. They shimmy their way down Venetian blind cords.
Wow.
How crazy is that?
That's awesome.
Yeah, this is what I mean. This is some crazy cat burglar shit.
That's incredible.
Yeah, you picture them with masks and all black. And so, yeah, they're going
and like that zip noise zzz, as they go down.
No alarms go off
Nothing.
at all while they're doing this. Nothing, okay? Not one alarm, nothing like that, okay? So there's the big jewel case of a couple that they wanted. They bypass all like the little jewels. They have the specific collection.
They know what they want.
It's the J.P. Morgan collection specifically.
Oh, I've heard of those fucks.
Which is a bunch of very famous jewels that we'll talk about in a second here. They duct tape up the glass so when they cut it, it won't shatter.
Oh, wow.
Like, they're pretty slick. This is like they've done this a couple of times.
Absolutely.
It would seem.
Absolutely.
And it would seem like they're okay at this, you know what I mean?
A little bit hillbilly. I like it.
And a little bit hillbilly. So they tape it up, they do it. I mean, they've seen a movie maybe, or they had an idea. This might be where it came from.
Hey, you got any of those suction cups that break glass? Nah, man, get the duct tape.
At the duct tape. I don't have a giant suction cup. I don't know where the, like jewel heist supply store, the cartoon jewel heist supply store is closed after 8. I don't have that. This is,
I got
middle
duct
of the night.
tape, motherfucker.
Let's go. Duct tape. All right. They are from Florida, guys.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
You got a lot of
redneck,
that.
it's going to abound. So they steal 24 jewels in all.
All right.
Okay, robbery is not discovered till the next morning when the guard arrives.
Wow.
So, I mean, this sits for hours. I mean, they're hanging out.
They're long gone.
Police discovered when they investigate why didn't the alarm go off, they discovered that the burglar alarm was disconnected years ago to save money on a cost-cutting measure.
Save money on protecting the millions and millions of dollars.
They really were like super lax with this shit. Leaving open windows, no alarms. We need to save money. We'll find out these jewels were even insured under value to keep the premium down.
Wow.
That's how fucking cheap the Museum of Natural History
fucking place.
When you give them, $1 million jewels, they go, we're going to just throw it in the closet. You might as well give it to like your Uncle Frank.
Shoebox.
Yeah, and have him put it in his fucking garage.
Could you put this on the top shelf
Next to his
so
ski
the kids don't
parka
get
he
it?
hasn't used in 18 years.
And his snowshoes.
So, it's nuts. So the jewels that were taken in total value $410,000. They said they're pretty impossible to value because the rarity of them is like, how do you really value that?
How do you value something that there's nothing of?
Basically valued at $410,000 in 1964, which is $3,166,573.18 in 2015 money.
And they took that shimmying down Venetian blinds.
Down Venetian blind
That's
cords,
awesome.
man. And it just seems like, why doesn't everybody do that?
You can't carry $3 million out of a place because of the weight alone. You can carry 22 stones pretty easily.
24.
24.
And the stones included the DeLong Star Ruby.
That sounds important.
Which is it's a famous ruby. These are all, that's the thing that's crazy. These are all very famous stones that people know. Like, you can't just take the Hope Diamond and be like, I got the Hope Diamond, and bring it to a pawn shop. And be like, what the fuck do you want me to do with that?
Can't take that blue diamond of the sea from Titanic and be like, look, I found this. Like, where's the old bitch that you robbed it off of?
It's ridiculous. So that's a 100-carat ruby.
Wow.
They take the Midnight Star Sapphire, which is a 161-carat sapphire.
Awesome.
The Eagle Diamond, which is just this giant diamond, and then the Eagle Diamond was found in a mine in Wisconsin, and that's why it's worth so much. It's a big thing, but it's not the size of the diamond; it's the fact that it was found in Wisconsin, which is like
Wisconsin is
the only diamond like that that's ever found up there. There's just one diamond up there somehow.
All of them came together to make one.
So weird. So, and then finally, the big one was the Star of India sapphire, which is the world's largest sapphire. It was found in the 17th century.
Oh my God!
In India. It was 565-carat sapphire.
That is huge.
That's
not
insane.
fitting in your pocket.
And it was uninsured.
Oh my God!
You didn't want to pay insurance on something that big.
What the hell?
Well, the premiums, Jimmy. I mean, good God. These days
but
with the
6
insurance,
hillbillies with duct tape stole
good God,
it.
They needed like fucking Obamacare for sapphires back then or something, because get a cheap undervalue it something, put something on it. So the police initially guessed that it wasn't a pro jewel thief operation because a pro would have had better tools, is what they said. They might have had the giant suction cup. They would have had it. That's the thing. He didn't have the Inspector Gadget suction cup.
They would have had that spray that finds lasers and shit.
Yeah, they didn't have any of that. No, like, ninja rolls through the lasers. None of that shit.
There were no black rappel ropes still hanging.
Also, too, that pro thieves, they thought, would have taken less prominent stones that were easier to sell. Because if you have a stone that everyone knows what it looks like, you're not going to... Who the fuck are you going to sell that to?
You can't take that to a pawn shop.
You can't take that. You can't take it to Sotheby's to auction off. You know what I mean?
You can't even take that to the Pawn Stars guys in Vegas.
They'll be like, yeah, you got the Star of India here. I mean, this was stolen for 2 days. You need to find like a James Bond villain to sell this to. Like some guy who's like, I just want to take it from the world and have it for myself.
Some guy that kills people with his shoe.
Yeah, he wants to keep it for himself and rub it with one hand while he pets his cat with the other. One of these guys. So after the robbery here, the next day they break up. These guys, they break apart. Roger Clark, who was the third guy, not Coon and Murphy, he's our third man here. He goes to his parents' house in Connecticut.
Which stones did he divvy up?
Well, we'll get to the stones in a second. Coon and Murphy put the jewels in a locked briefcase, okay? Lock it in a briefcase. Now, they recruit...
Better be handcuffed to your fucking wrist.
You know who they recruit to help them out? To get them out of here?
Whose cousin?
Nobody's
cousin. 17-year-old cousin.
But they're 19.
Oh, that asshole.
Stop having a teenager. And by the way, the quote about her when this all comes down is the greatest criminal quote I've ever heard about anything. It's the most like old school criminal thing you'll ever hear. We'll get to that. But anyway, so they take 19-year-old Janet Florkowitz.
Who was fucking her?
Both of them, probably. She was a hotel party girl. Not a hooker, but
just a girl that hung out.
Part of the party scene. That her and her friends would go over there, and so who knows what they were doing.
And they called her, guess what we stole? Come hang out with us.
They don't tell her.
Okay.
They tell her, hey, why don't you come down to Miami with us? We'll fly you down to Miami.
Yeah.
Just take this briefcase with you, and we'll all go on the flight. So they all go on the flight. They assume names, all of them too. They don't use their real names because you could do that back then. You know, to show ID. They sit separately and they pretend they don't know each other. The two guys go together. They pretend they don't know Florkowitz with the jewels. Okay. Yeah. So they said this is the equivalent of telling a girl to put weed in her pussy when you get pulled over if you're a teenager. You know what I mean?
She'll do anything.
It's the equivalent of that. Yeah. I was the first one to say pussy today, Jimmy. What do you think of that? Never. That's never happened before. That was the first one to be gross. So yeah, they go down to Florida. They fly down there. And
so they don't even tell her what's in the briefcase, though, like Pulp Fiction. She's gonna open it and it's gonna glow, and she's gonna be like, "What the fuck?
What is that? The Star of India? What is the fuck?" So
is that the Eagle Diamond?
She starts to think things are a little weird, and she calls her
Good fucking call.
Good call. She starts to feel like, "Hey, why do they have me come down here with that suit? Why are they pretending they don't know me? And why can't I say what my name is?" Right. So. That's the thing.
Why am I carrying this fucking briefcase? Carry your own luggage.
That's why her story of not knowing sounds very shady, and later on she actually admits that she's full of shit, and she saw the jewels in the briefcase. She looked in the fucking briefcase,
Why am I carrying this?
At this point, she's claiming she doesn't know. Okay. Her claim is she calls her girlfriend, and her girlfriend remembers seeing the gem guide in their hotel room, and they put two and two together. Uh-huh. When, no, she just called her girlfriend and said, hey, I'm with the fucking guys who stole the jewels. Yeah. And then her girlfriend said, oh, shit, all right, I'll help you, and we'll call the police. That's what happened.
All right.
So it comes out later. So anyway, that ends up happening. Yeah, the story of Jem's book that she saw in the hotel room. So they're arrested 2 days after the heist. 2 days after.
That was quick.
Roger Clark's arrested as he tries to collect his things from the hotel. He came back from Connecticut to get his things, and his things included photos of the museum and robbery tools. Police were waiting there for him, like looking at their watches, like, "Oh, the fuck is this asshole?"
Hey, why do you want to know about the janitor closet on the 6th floor of the fucking Museum of Natural History that was just robbed?
Yeah.
And by the way,
2 days ago.
And the people that robbed it camped out in that fucking closet.
Yeah. So
you happen to have a diagram of it right here.
Why is that? Pictures. Here's a drawing of it.
You got Polaroids.
You have a dream book that you made, and it's got. I don't understand.
What is this shadow box?
He walks in the door. They're like, traffic from Connecticut, pal, or what? So they cuff him up. They head down. There's agents go down to Florida. Yeah. Knock on the apartment of Coon and Murph the Surf because they live together. Murph's hanging out in his fucking beach shorts, sitting on the couch. He's got 2 girls with him. He's hanging out, got 2 girls. He's resuming lifestyle. Like, hey, I don't know what you're talking about. Cops arrest him. He was pissed off, and he was telling him, I'm supposed to be in Hawaii, man. I got to go. Like, this is an inconvenience.
I'm working on my tan, guys.
He literally was like, oh, guys, I got shit to do. What are you doing here? Like, this is a huge inconvenience for me. I don't like this, So they take him away, and then minutes later, Coon walks in the door and says, oh, federal agent, shit. He's arrested, and he gives the greatest criminal quote. This is like the most old-school criminal quote ever. Yeah, see? Finds out that Florkowitz gave him up, and he says, quote, this is Coon, quote, that's what happens when you fool around with square broads.
Square broads.
Square broads. Can't be fooling around with square broads. You gotta get yourself a crooked one.
Yeah.
Need Sharon Stone in Casino. None of this shit.
You need a hatchet face from Crybaby.
Yeah, exactly, man. So, and then there's a Miami detective at the time says, when they were looking for him, says, quote, and he said he was laughing as he said this, quote, every fence in town is laughing at this one. Fence meaning people that receive stolen goods. They can't believe anyone would heist this stuff. And they won't go near it with a 10-foot pole. He's like, well, who's going to buy that shit? Like, everyone's saying
$3 million in 2015's worth of jewels.
Yeah.
And nobody's going to buy it from you anyway.
Because it's, what black market?
Because this isn't fucking Snatch, asshole.
We do find we'll see, we'll get into this, the DeLong Star Ruby kind of sort of makes its way onto the black market, which is kind of neat, and we'll get into that. November 18th, 1964, the men are flown, they fly back, all three of them fly to New York for a court appearance. Right. There's an arrangement. Arrangement is already made for bail in exchange for cooperation in recovering the jewels.
Oh.
Basically, they want the jewels back.
Yeah.
They just want the fucking jewels back.
No
this
questions
is an important
asked,
collection. They'll whatever.
They'll go lenient as long as they get the shit back.
They want the shit back. So, and the guys know this shit. And they're using it to their advantage. They're going to get something favorable for them because they really want the... It's a bargaining chip for them. So they arrive on the plane. They're treated like the Beatles. I've seen the foot. It looks like the Beatles arrived. I mean, there's people there to see him because he's sort of a famous guy, and now he's like this surfer, jewel thief, cat burglar. This is like the hugest heist. People are intrigued with this shit. There was 3 channels on in the 60s. I mean, there's no other source of entertainment. You know what the top shows were in 1964, Jimmy? Because I do. I looked it up. Bonanza, Bewitched, and Gomer Pyle USMC.
Wow.
It's real easy to capture the imagination of people back then when that's the shit that they have to watch. Bewitched, some guys standing there on the Ponderosa staring at each other, or Gomer Pyle, United States Marine Corps. Holy shit. So yeah, this was a really big deal that people were interested in. Yeah, he was like the Billy the Kid of the era. I mean, like...
What was the name of that guy that jumped out of the plane with all the money that they never caught?
Oh, God, Jesus.
He's essentially that guy.
Yeah,
it was initial.
Yeah, DB...
DB Barnum?
That's a circus guy.
DB...
Somebody Barnum. P.T. Barnum's a circus guy.
Yeah, that's it.
We'll get into that later. You got into it. So... Anyway, so a huge crowd comes to arrive to see them at the airport. It's insane. The media is treating them like celebrities. They don't even bring luggage because they're so confident they're getting back on a plane that night and going back to Miami. So they're like, hey, just stopping by for a quick fucking pop-in. Yeah. We're getting right back on the 5:30 back to Miami Beach. Like, they're confident, man.
Fucking DB Cooper's trying to get out of
DB
town
Cooper,
fast.
Thank you. There you go. Google.
Thank you,
Quick
Google.
So... They're released on $32,000 bail apiece.
Yeah.
And they have the money.
Yeah.
Wonder how they got the money. They were allowed to fly home same day. Yeah. So, I mean, they're just living the life. It's no deal. They stole some of the... I gave you the big stones. Yeah. There were some smaller ones that they used and sold. The ones that weren't famous.
Their way.
That's how they financed their defense, their bail, all of their flying back and forth. All of this shit, right?
I'm going to finance my defense.
Yeah.
For this jewel heist.
Awesome.
With some of the jewels from the heist.
Awesome shit.
That's brilliant.
It's brilliant. And they get away with it back then. God, you want to live in the mid-'60s and start stealing shit. So they find out that the Miami police do some more investigation. They find out that the 3, about a few months before this robbery, the 3 had gone down to the Caribbean, and there was a big unsolved jewel heist down there the same time they were there. Miami PD spokesman said, quote, they are crack jewel thieves. We've been trying to pin something on them for a long time, which is another old-timey cop. They're crack jewel thieves. See? Been trying to pin something on them for a long time. Going to put them in the pokey. Like
he says that with like a cigarette hanging out of his mouth.
He's flipping a nickel. Yeah, you know what I mean? So he's got a cigarette and a toothpick and flipping a nickel. Trying to pin something on him for a long time.
All the shit he can jam in his mouth and still talk.
they're also charged with more robberies in Miami. Apparently, this is, as we know from later on, they're going around just robbing the shit out of any jewelry they can find. They're scaling walls. They have a little thing that they do. They're good cat burglars.
They're awesome.
They're a cat. Let's think about this. They're a Miami Beach surfing, playboy, cat burgling, yacht riding.
They're cool as fuck.
Convertible Cadillac cruising. Fucking Beach Boys on the radio.
They're illegal Dean Martin.
Help me, Rhonda. They're just cruising. They're fucking loving this shit. What a great life they have at this point, these guys. You like them now, right?
409. Hell yeah.
You like them, and you're not going to soon. But pretty soon, I'm telling you, we're going to turn. But right now, they're so much fun, and I want to be a part of this group.
Absolutely.
I want to be number 4. This is like Entourage, but not, I don't want to murder them.
I want to be their fucking turtle. I'm in.
Yeah, I'm in, dude. I'll do this shit. So they go back to New York on January 4th, 1965 to renew their bail, because I guess they have to keep going every once in a while for a hearing to check in. And they're arrested in New York for robbery.
Good.
Again here.
I like when they get arrested. It's fun.
Yeah, apparently a man at the Algonquin Hotel IDs Murph the Surf as a guy who pistol whipped him during a robbery at the hotel.
That's something
and
you're going
stole
to remember.
$250.
Yeah.
So now we're escalating from cool, high-dollar jewel thieving, cat burgling, James Bond villain selling kind of ways to pistol whipping some guy in a hotel for $250.
Assault over nothing.
Yeah, that's what I mean, over nothing. He's stealing $1 million jewels one day. Next day he's pistol whipping some poor bastard in the hotel lobby. Jesus Christ. Also, the next day... For tip money. So this all story's out. The next day, the husband of Ava Gabor, the actress...
What?
Husband of Ava Gabor IDs Murphy and Kuhn as the guys who beat up and robbed Ava Gabor of $50,000.
Wow.
Amazing.
They assaulted Ava Gabor?
Ava Gabor and took $50,000 from her. And
the lady from fucking Green Acres.
Yes, Ava Gabor. Yes,
the lady with the worst accent in the history of accents.
Of all the Gabors, there's a million. She's Ava Gabor. Yes, they stole $50,000 and beat her up even. This is amazing. Is this the greatest or what? I mean, how cool is this so far, right? Beating up Ava Gabor, man. So basically...
I mean... If you could smack somebody, it's going to be somebody with that shit accent.
And they're like, how do we break these people? They go down, they fly, the press love them, they're like the Beatles, they're in Cadillacs, they're beating up actresses and taking, like,
they're slapping Hungarian fucking TV stars.
With impunity, flying back and forth up and down the coast. They're like, what do we do here?
Just fucking reckless.
So the prosecutor at the time, an assistant DA at the time, Maurice Najari, said, quote, "My feeling was that these free spirits could not tolerate jail time.
Oh, shit.
And if I could get them in a jail, I could crack them." Good plan, by the way. Good plan.
I like your moves, sir.
And his whole thing is, I just wanted these gems back because there was a lot of pressure from the city. Because, I mean, this is like the J.P. Morgan collection.
Yeah.
So, like, this is wealthy, powerful families are making phone calls to wealthy, powerful people going, you make sure to get this shit right. And shit's rolling downhill. So it's directive 1. Get these fucking jewels back, whatever you have to do. I don't care if you have to stick a lamp up these guys' asses like they're a Haitian immigrant 30 years from now. You fucking do it.
How did they not catch him, though? Because, like they're like Catch Me If You Can, like writing bad checks across the country. But that guy, at least, they don't even know what the fuck he looks like. Well, these guys, they know who they are. It's tanned fucking assholes from Florida.
They keep getting out on bail because, and this guy makes a good point, Najari said they knew one thing. It's not about what you did, unless you, took somebody's head off and put it on a pike and stuck it outside of your house. Like, it's not about what you did. It's about the likelihood of you returning to court.
Gotcha.
That's what bail is based on.
Okay.
Is he going to come back or not? And they said he always came to court when he was supposed to. So he kept getting fucking bail. He'd always show up, and he was like, you want the guy to not show up? Well, he's just there. He's so dependable for court. They have to keep giving him bail. Like, God damn it. Here he is again. Shit.
He snuck in. We didn't even see him come in.
He came in on the red eye, this son of a bitch.
He rappelled down the Venetian blind.
Where's my ring? So... At this point, they are, with these robberies now hanging over their head, their new bail is set at $150,000 each.
Nice. They finally set one pretty steep.
They can't pay this.
No.
They've pissed it all away on yachts and beach girls, and I don't know why.
They're clearly in the red because they're smacking up Hungarian. She's gonna finger you. People know who. who she is, and if she knows what you look like, you're going to get caught, and you're robbing her $50,000 of her.
Well,
you're clearly in the red.
I don't know what one of those big suction cup things we talked about cost, but they needed one, so that's what it was. So that's maybe what it was.
I won't buy a lot of yachts, though.
So Coon holds a meeting in jail, and they all get together and they go, this is not kosher, what we're all doing here now in jail.
No.
We all have better lifestyles than this.
Yeah.
This is for the riffraff.
Right.
We need to get the fuck out of here. Let's cooperate.
We aren't square, but we're more square than this shit.
Let's do what we got to do to get the fuck out of here and get back to banging multiple girls at the same time on the beach and driving around and with the Beach Boys and Help Me Rhonda playing. Please. So...
Something with a 4 on the floor.
This is what they decide to do. They decide they'll cooperate. The DA, Najari, wants these jewels back. Coon says, okay, tell you what, you go down, take me down to Miami, I can get you the jewels back ASAP. Fucking pronto. We'll get the jewels
Coon
back.
says this.
This is what Coon tells the DA, Najari. Najari takes this to the judge, and the judge says, no, not going to release them. No, not going to release them near custody. I don't want to do that. Return them to jail. So he says, well, shit, now what do we do? I need this guy down to Miami. I need the jewels back. High pressure from here. The judge isn't getting pressure because the judge doesn't care.
No.
He's a judge.
He just wants justice.
He's not a guy that's trying not to get fired here. You know, he's not an assistant district attorney who's trying to
He's just
move
going
up the
by
ladder.
the book.
He's just doesn't give a shit.
Yeah.
So anyway, Najari works up a criminal heist of his own. He says, quote, I kidnapped him.
Awesome.
They work this out where they pretend like he says, well, I got to question him more. So there's other heists that we've heard that I got to question him. So I can't take him right back to jail. I'm going to take him to my office first. Yeah. And we might have to question him all night. You never know. Rather than taking him there, they take him to the airport.
Fuck yes, they do.
Get on a plane.
Why
go down
isn't
to
this
Miami.
a goddamn movie? This is amazing.
This part of it isn't, but part of it was a movie. Okay, so it's amazing. So they take him down there and they start going. Now imagine this: there's the DA, him, and he's calling all of his friends and fences and people, trying to track down these fucking jewels down there by morning. They can't track it down by morning, so they stay down there. This Najari guy's in trouble, basically. The judge is not happy
He's like,
with
we're
this.
already fucked. Let's just find the jewels.
Yeah, so they keep going. Finally, days later, on the 8th of January, it was like 2 days later, at 3 o'clock in the morning, an informer finally comes out and says that he has the info of where it is. Yeah. The whole group, now the press is following them around too. They're trying to pretend like they're not doing what they're doing. They're trying to do this low key, but the press knows about it. They're following them around everywhere. They're like calling them on the phone in hotel rooms.
TMZ is following them around.
Yeah, the press is like it's like a little gumball rally. Whenever they go somewhere, everybody gets in their cars and follow. It's ridiculous. So they do this whole thing. They go to the Miami bus station, to some terminal in a bus station at 3 o'clock in the morning. Locker number 911. Guess what's there? The Star of India Sapphire is in a Miami bus station locker at 3 o'clock in the morning. So that's
probably where anytime that's ever been in a movie, that's where it came from.
Yeah. The bus locker.
That's
amazing. From this. Yeah. They actually put it in a bus locker. Who's going to look there for the most priceless jewel on earth? Jesus Christ. So they get those back. They get the DeLong.
A 300-year-old gem, by the way.
It's 300 years old from, India. So the DeLong ruby is held by a Miami gangster at this point. Awesome. Somehow that got into a Miami gangster. Great. He offers it to a millionaire, John MacArthur, who's trying to get it back for the city. Offers him 25. It says basically ransom of 25,000. You could have it back, basically. So
nice chunk of change.
The jewel is exchanged in another movie thing. It's a phone booth thing. The guy has to come. They have an intermediary, this writer guy, who comes, and he's supposed to go up to a phone booth at a certain time where the phone is ringing. He goes in there. That's where he's supposed to leave the money, in the ringing phone booth. He leaves the money in there, answers the phone. They tell him it's 2 booths down, up in the ceiling of the thing, on top of it, in the roof, in a bag. He hangs up the phone, goes 2 booths over. There's the fucking... the Midnight Star, the DeLong Ruby. Right. The DeLong Star Ruby is there.
Awesome.
It's insane. So they find
so
that.
Cool.
Yeah. So there's people that are pissed off about the way they actually paid a ransom for it and all that. But tough shit, the goddamn thing's back. It's going back to the museum. It's pretty neat, though, the way they got it.
That's fascinating.
That's such a movie thing to do. You know what I mean? So anyway, the team...
And you can't write something like that.
No.
So I guarantee anytime that shit's been in a movie, it came from this shit.
It came from this shit.
Absolutely.
So they bring a jeweler right to the site to, get its authenticity right away, make sure it's not a big hunk of shit, a big piece of glass.
Is it.
So it's the thing. He's, they're all heroes for getting it back.
Sure.
The millionaire dude's a hero. Whatever. So at this point, they get that back. They're pretty happy. They never get back the Eagle Diamond.
Really?
The Eagle Diamond never comes back because it is not, like I said, it was valuable for where it was found, not for really what it is. They're pretty sure that it was broken up into smaller stones and sold off.
Probably in some fucking housewife's ring in Minnesota.
Exactly. Who knows where the hell it is right now? Your grandmother's ring, it's probably a piece of it. You never know. So her half a carat that your grandfather worked for
that he slaved his fucking ass off to get her a diamond ring. It came from a jewel heist.
Yeah. So basically the prosecutor offers them 1 year in prison for each. Basically, it's 3 years in prison. The prosecutor is what they get.
It's not so bad
for it. They have to serve a year. The thing was, if they returned all the jewels, they'd only get 1 year apiece.
All right.
But since they couldn't return all the jewels, they get 3 years apiece.
Sorry, Judge.
Which is still
I had a defense to fund.
They were facing 30. So they'd cut some time off of that. So it worked to do that. They said they already sold the other ones. What the fuck are you going to do? What am I
guys.
Put the Eagle Diamond back together and give it to somebody? So all three are paroled after like 21 months. They're all paroled. There's also another man, Richard Duncan Pearson, who was convicted. He was actually convicted in the ransom thing. He was one of the go-betweens on the gangster side of it.
All right.
So he got convicted
made a phone
of it
call.
also. Exactly.
Right.
He's convicted also.
He walked up to a phone booth and jammed a bag in there.
Yes, I mean, they get out. They're free and clear. They're famous. They've participated in the most, insane jewelry heists. Yeah. Everyone knows about it. They're famous dudes. I mean, people want to write movies about them.
So awesome.
It's
their life's back to big.
Amazing right now. It's the best, right? So Coon disappears. He wants no part.
Yeah,
Clark
done.
takes off. He doesn't want any part of shit. Coon doesn't want part. He doesn't want the spotlight. Is what he wants. He's
but
like,
Murph the
I'm
Surf
be
can't
quiet.
get enough.
Murph the Surf goes to L.A., baby. He doesn't give a shit. He
Where
goes
is
to
the
LA.
spotlight? It is in L.A. I will be there.
He's doing some stunt work. He's working on a screenplay. He's a typical L.A. douchebag.
Yeah.
He does like the Tom Paine. He's going to parties, going,
He's wearing gold-rimmed fucking aviators.
I met Ava Gabor once. Yeah, once I met her.
I didn't tell anybody. I jacked her in the fucking jaw.
Her husband, not such a fan of that guy. I don't like her.
That guy's a piece of shit.
He's kind of a dick. So he's arrested on several jewelry heists in L.A. also. Yeah. But he's never brought to trial. There's insufficient evidence, and they never indict him.
Never find the
They
jewels.
arrest him, but they never indict him because he's apparently better at getting away with it on the West Coast than on the East Coast. So he returns to Miami after a little while. It's just shit's not going well for him. Narrowly escapes trial for shit.
All the callbacks dry up.
It's so funny too. When he got out of prison in New York, in Rikers Island, he said, "This is wonderful." He got out and he said, "Here's another in their own words. It's a short one, but a sweet one here." He says, quote, "I don't give a damn about anything or anyone." End of quote. That's it.
We know, sir.
That's all he had.
We're convinced.
Goes to Miami, and this is where shit gets deep. This is where I don't like him anymore. And none of you should, okay? First of all...
Takes his talents to South Beach.
Yeah. First of all, in spring of 68, 2 bodies are found. 2 young female bodies are found in a creek outside, or in a swamp outside of Hollywood, Florida. These are called the Whiskey Creek Murders.
Right.
So, I mean, there's a fucking name for these.
Yeah.
Like like a serial killer, like the Green River this, or there's the Whiskey Creek Murders.
Solved.
Yeah. They have a nickname in the press. I think, so it's good stuff at this point here. They're not for these girls, but for the story.
Yeah, yeah.
It's getting interesting. So these bodies are found. They don't know anything about these girls. They don't know anything about what happened,
the circumstances, any of that.
This is looming.
Yeah.
And then we get to later spring 68. A socialite, rich broad, we'll call her. It's the 60s.
Some square broad.
Some square broad with a lot of dough.
Yeah.
Olivia Wofford.
She sounds rich.
She sounds rich.
Yeah.
She is robbed by a team of men, okay,
All right.
in her home, including Murphy, okay? They bust into her house. They rough her up. They have guns. They want her to open the safe. They threaten to pour boiling water on her 8-year-old niece.
Oh, my God.
If she doesn't open the safe. This is in addition to having guns to their head.
This is so much further than that jewel.
This is not fun anymore.
No, this isn't fucking funny.
Yeah,
This is
the Beach
fucked
Boys
up.
have stopped. Yeah. You heard the records go, "Help me!" It died.
They're like, "Did you just say boiling water? What the fuck,
dude,
man?
This is getting deep.
We're
man.
not going to
Holy
be your
shit.
soundtrack anymore."
This is like in Goodfellas when it changes to where he's doing coke from the fun gangster times. This is like, this isn't fun anymore.
No.
This is no good.
This is terrible.
Yeah, this is no good. So yeah, they end up. They force her to open the safe. As she does, she has some sort of silent alarm system rigged in the safe. Smart for her.
Yeah.
Because she sets it off.
Yeah.
Cops start coming to the house.
Uh-oh.
Cops rush in. Murphy, who said repeatedly that he loves the high-speed getaway type thing.
Yeah.
He's into this for the excitement and all this type of thing. He decides
Well, you know what? That makes sense. So all the fucking thrill-seeking that he does with all his fun
he's
gigs.
high cliff diving. He's surfing. He's doing, and surfing in the 50s was considered like, whoa, that guy's crazy.
Guy's crazy.
He's riding water.
There's sharks and shit out there.
So he tries to escape. He jumps through a plate glass window.
Wow.
Cuts the shit out of his face and everything.
He saw that shit in a movie. He's like, well, that didn't go the same way.
That was fuck. Damn, all the movies are about me later on, but I didn't have, he didn't have a playbook to go by like we have now from these movies of what he did.
I didn't realize they build those windows in the movies out of like sugar shit.
Yeah,
they shatter real easy and don't cut.
He's cut all over his face. Doesn't matter. Gets in a car, takes off. Fucking high-speed chase through
bleeding
Miami.
Fucking everywhere.
Bleeding. He's managed to bandage himself up a little bit,
While
too.
he's driving.
While he's driving.
Unbelievable.
And gets to, we find this out because he eventually crashes through someone's French doors in their house. That's how the police find him.
It's a hell of an arrival.
His face is all cut up and bandaged. There's a mugshot of it that I found, and we'll post it on social media of him with his face cut up. He looks like he has a beard of bandages almost. And they get to him and they go, we know you were back there. How'd you cut your face? He goes, I must have cut myself shaving. That was his line. Just came out with that out of his ass.
He looks
like
like
your face.
He looks like that mummy game that people play at Halloween with toilet paper.
Yeah, that's what he looked like. Yeah, and he said, I got myself shaving. Ha ha ha. Wise ass to the end. He is taken to the hospital before the police station, obviously, to get stitched up and everything. So it's amazing. I love that, though.
Shaved with the
French
eagle diamond.
So he is 68. He's charged with this robbery, but then he's ruled insane.
Yeah, I'm going
by
with
a judge.
I like that. But
this isn't charged with this robbery. He's charged with another robbery.
A different robbery.
How
do they not pin this shit on him?
I don't know. This is before this. Okay. He's charged with something, and they end up letting it. He ends up getting off on it on insanity, and gets out.
Yeah.
So he's free to commit these things here. So he's arrested there. He's out on bail now for the Wofford thing. Even with
he's the luckiest person on earth.
But he shows up for court. So, God damn it, he's got a good record. He's known as a good bail risk. Yeah. He'll show up. Yeah. He might go out and rob people and cat burgle and whatever, but he'll show up back again when you need him. Here I am. Yep. Blood on my hands and all, but, pot of boiling water. Holding him.
Shitty mummy wrap on my face.
Here, cut myself shaving. Sorry, guys. So, yeah, he's out on bail. And as he's out on bail, we find out some more about these bodies that were found.
The
Whiskey Creek murders.
Yeah.
They turn out to be two young ladies by the name of Terry Ray Frank and Annette Moan. Terry Ray Frank is 24. We don't know how old Annette is. Probably the same age, we're assuming. These were two female secretaries at a brokerage house in California. Okay,
in
LA.
Visiting Florida?
They were, we'll get into why they were there. Turns out, Mr. Murphy here, Murph the Surf, and a couple of accomplices talked these young ladies into stealing $500,000 in securities.
Wow.
From the brokerage. Had a, scam in this. So now they're getting into like high finance crime.
This is crazy.
It turns out $488,732 was stolen.
About $3 million.
From this. So about $3 million they're stealing. So, I mean, this is quite the fucking heist here.
Jesus.
These two girls were found in a swamp outside of Hollywood, Florida. They were shot, bludgeoned to death, and had concrete weights tied around their necks in the water also.
Somebody wanted them dead for real.
Somebody wanted them dead and not fucking found, basically. And so turns out they apparently were threatening to
go to the cops
with this whole situation.
Yeah. They're going to squeal.
And
they're square broads.
Because they're square broads.
They didn't learn.
Square broad. Guys, crime in sports rule number 6. Don't get involved with square broads. No, don't do it. They're going to turn you in.
Every time.
These square broads. You need one of these like Bruno de Souza's woman, that ex-wife. That's a ride or die kind of girl right there. She'll take care of your kid with your porn star ex-girlfriend that you just murdered. She'll take that kid, take care of it. That's the kind of girl you want.
A crooked bitch like that.
Don't bring these girls into your heist.
No. Broads. That's so funny.
I know. You got to love the 60s, man. It's amazing. So He's arrested for this murder on May 8th, 1968, in a Valenti's restaurant parking lot in Miami.
Yep.
This is while he's awaiting trial for the Wofford robbery.
Gotcha.
So he's got that going on. This is bad news for him, basically. A paper. He's trying to say he's insane. He's trying to get out of this.
Yeah.
He's trying to say, I don't know
Shit's
what I did.
piled up too big. He can't climb this.
This is huge at this point. I don't
This
know
is
what
bigger
the
than
fuck
a
to
10-foot wall now.
Yeah, this is bigger than a high dive or...
Yeah.
I can't... There's no Venetian blinds long enough for me to shimmy down at this point. So there's an article in the Daytona Beach Morning Journal in September 20th, 1968, where a state panel ruled him, quote, antisocial but sane. He returned him to jail and recommended that but the trial for double murder go forward.
Antisocial unless you're a criminal that loves to rob shit.
Yeah.
Then he can fucking sing with you all day.
He goes back on trial. He's convicted of first-degree murder with accomplice Jack Griffith. Was apparently the guy that was with him. I think Jack Griffith or somebody flipped on him was how they had all this information.
That makes sense.
Turns out there was more than these two involved in the securities thing. There was a group of people planning that, but these two apparently took these girls to Florida.
Because it's going to be weird if you just turn up with $488,000.
Yeah. So there's a lot of people.
Yeah,
there's a bunch of people in this, but apparently these two are the ones. And they still say they didn't do it, and they were just, I'm not a rat, and they're pulling that shit again. So he is only convicted of killing Terry Ray Frank somehow, which this I don't understand. There's two bodies killed exact same way, next to each other, both involved, same plot, same everything. They find him guilty only of one murder. Huh. They only find him guilty of
So the other
Terry
one
Ray Frank murder.
just died by the same way by osmosis.
She apparently is a copycat. She just had no originality. Yeah. She's like, I'm going to kill myself, shoot myself, bludgeon myself, tie a weight around my neck, and throw myself into a swamp. I think that's the best way to go, because that was my best friend, and I can't live without her.
I got to honor her in a beautiful way.
Beautiful, beautiful way. So he's convicted of first-degree murder, given a life sentence. He's fucked at this point. Don't like him so much now, right?
No. He's a garbage person.
He's a garbage person. So 1970 comes along, and he receives a second life sentence plus 20 years for the Wofford robbery. It's conspiracy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's conspiracy and assault to commit robbery. So it's an assault in the commission, which is much worse. That's a aggregating factor.
How long do you think he stared at that paperwork when he saw another life sentence? He's like, are you shitting me? I should have killed her.
Yes, he should have at this point. Should have poured water all over the niece, because he would have got away with it. So he, at this point, has 2 life sentences plus 20 years. He's sitting in jail. It's over for him. It's over for him. I mean, Tom Paine had 1 life sentence. Right. He's been in here for 40 years. He's still there. So luckily for him, he's white, though, and things go a little better for him than that, as we'll get into, which is fucking ridiculous.
He's white and not in Kentucky.
Exactly. He's in Florida, which is bad, just as bad. So when he's sentenced for the Wofford robbery, the judge said at sentencing that he is, quote, unfit to ever again be in a free world with a law-abiding society. That is quite awesome. The declaration.
That stings.
You, sir, may fuck off. That is an absolute fuck off to jail right there. I love that.
Can you imagine, though, like being able... I'd like to be a judge just for a day to be able to say shit like that right to people's faces.
That'd be amazing.
That's awesome.
It's just, I think you had to sit down. How can I
tell
articulately tell this guy what a piece of shit he is? I really want him to know.
And I've said this to that last guy.
I want it to sting too. I want
original.
Unfit. Yeah, he's unfit.
He's unfit.
Like that's a good one.
Law-abiding is good.
So he's in prison. 1971. Here it comes, Jimmy. What does he do? Guess what he finds?
I gotta know. Just tell me.
Jesus, of course. Of course he finds Jesus.
Of course he does.
So 1971 becomes a born-again Christian. Later on, he says...
I was going to go with the Eagle Diamond.
He finds, here it is, guys. Can I get out now? No? Fuck. Damn it. I want out. I'm good now.
Yeah, I'm good
cocaine.
Now. He needs a silver-haired middle-aged white man. That's what he needs.
It's funny you say that, Jimmy. Hang on to that thought, buddy. Hang on to that thought, my friend.
So he finds Jesus, this fuck.
Hang on to that thought. So he becomes a born-again Christian. Later on, in their own words here, he says, quote, I didn't take it too seriously then. It just seemed like the politically correct thing to do. Yeah. That's so obviously he's full of shit. It even says later on
I didn't know what to do, so this is the only card I had left.
Says that this is fucking amazing, okay? Says that in prison, he ran a drug ring, a gambling operation. This is while he's born again Christian also, too, in 71, because he didn't do this from 70 this was like later. He also helped lead a prison strike. All of this earning him 7 months in isolation, solitary confinement for being a jackass.
Plenty of time to get to know your lord, sir.
Oh my God. And then he's such a sociopath. He's better than this, though. Yeah. He's above all these people, even though he's running drug rings and gambling operations. And
he has an ego on
threatening 8-year-olds and murdering young girls and dumping them in swamps.
Boiling water, by the way, like that's not even like threatening to kill her. Yeah. That's like just fucking her up for the rest of her life.
Worse than saying I'm going to cut her throat. Right. That's worse. Right. So he says, here's a great in their own words. Here we go. Quote, this is about prison. Quote, you take a man and lock him up 24 hours a day. Every other day he gets out for about 3 hours to take a shower. Because of the inadequate staffing, because of the inadequate programs, these men are getting out vicious. I don't want them moving into the neighborhood where my kind of people live.
Your kind of people are those people.
You're in the neighborhood.
Right.
That's your neighborhood. Where you belong. Right where you belong. With other murdering assholes.
Run down to the park for 3 hours a day, fuckhead.
How are the waves, dickhead? Oh my God. What a fucking ridiculous, that's the most ridiculous statement I've ever heard.
That ego is...
He sounds like Archie, but I don't want him, Archie Bunker. I don't want him moving into the neighborhood where I live. Edith. Is that Puerto Ricans moving in across the street? That's what I feel like, man.
I smell Indian food.
Yeah. So, I mean, and then it comes out, too. I mean, this is all going on 71. 72, he is cocky as balls here. He comes off 1972, June 29th, 1972. I found an article from the Lakeland Ledger. Yeah. I don't know.
They're writing articles about prisoners?
Yeah, he's famous. That's why. And he's a famous jewel thief, and it's an interesting story people want to keep hearing
about. And he's got a fucking mouth on him that doesn't quit.
And he says some funny shit here, too. He does not let us down, my friend. The article is called Murph the Surf Still Has Hope. That's the article. Murphy is confident that he'll be out within a year at this point. This is 1972. He is serving two life sentences.
And he's been in prison for 2 years.
Yeah, 2 life sentences plus 20. He's just completely delusional, this guy, at this point. And this is why I don't believe him later on, because you don't go from a completely delusional psychopath or sociopath to just on a dime, hey, now I care about others. You don't teach empathy like that. We'll get into this. I don't buy this Jesus shit for 1 second.
I'm 35. I'm not a sociopath by any stretch, but I don't even have much empathy.
No, I'm the same jerk-off I was when I was 16. Yeah. So you know what? So is he. Yeah. Fuck him. So anyway, let's keep going here. He says that his lawyer has a valid appeal. They say he has a valid appeal. His appeal is that the Wofford trial was unfair because there was so much publicity that he was denied a fair trial. Because he was trying to pull like, hey, everybody knew who I was. Right. Between the surfing, between the jewel heist, between all this shit, they all knew who the murder. The murder with a name, the Whiskey Creek murders. I mean, you have a named, branded fucking murder that you committed. He has a branded murder. Yeah. Hashtag Whiskey Creek murders. It's got a fucking hashtag. That version of 1968 hashtag is what he's got. Ridiculous, man. So he's thinking he's going to get out. And this article, Jimmy, it's ridiculous. Yeah. It's ridiculous. Like I read...
There's never been a named murder where the person gets out of prison after 3 years.
No.
I don't think they ever have gotten out. Most of the time, with named murders, they fucking hang. Mm-hmm. Especially in the 60s.
And he's not even... the appeal's not even about the Whiskey Creek murders. Right. It's about the Wofford robbery. He's saying that the publicity from the murders made it unfair for him later. What about the murders? Right. You think you're getting out for 3 years?
There's still a life sentence for those fuckers.
Yeah, what do you think? That's 2 years? Life or 2-3 years, whenever you feel like it's okay. He feels like he can get over on the world, this guy, man. Jesus. That's what the same thing with the psychiatric shit. Yeah. He thought, I can get over on these guys. Yeah. And all the psychiatrists, too, in that whole thing, they all said, like, he's good at everything he does. Yeah. They all had, like, this shit, like, he's a smart, brilliant, talented sociopath, basically. That's what it is. So, I mean, he... This article's ridiculous. It's from 72, and it's funny because I read Tom Paine articles. This is why I said this is the white experience of Tom Paine. It's the opposite experience of it. I don't want to get into racial shit, but this is so fucking obvious it's not even funny. Because I read articles of him from 72 when he was on trial and convicted of rape, and this is murder. Same time period, Jimmy.
Worst fucking,
100 miles away.
Right.
So we're not, it's not like one's in Canada and one's in Afghanistan. Right. We're in, the same area.
Both of them are ruining lives.
Yeah, he killed 2 goddamn people and disposed of their fucking bodies.
With zero sexual motivation at all. You know
trying
what I mean?
to cover up a robbery. Like, that's straight gangster fucking Goodfellas shit.
Right.
That is Frankie Carbone hanging in the meat truck, man.
That's a dangerous motherfucker.
It is. This is horrible. So this article acts like he is king shit. It acts like they're talking to a movie star who's on the set of his latest movie. They call him
like his brother or some shit.
In the middle of his quote, they'll say like, he'll be like blah 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 blah, and then they'll say like says so and so, and then they'll continue with the quote. How they do in newspapers, it'll say the one it said it had half of his quote, and then it said says the handsome 35-year-old.
Holy shit!
They kept commenting on how his nails stayed nice and manicured, how his hair was combed so nicely, and how articulate he was.
Was this a woman that wrote it?
No, this was just
some
fluff piece,
some
man.
flamboyant dude that wrote it.
He's in prison.
How do you, as a
2 life sentences,
as a journalist, like his bulge in his pants throbbed as he said.
They were just saying like this smooth, suave.
Right.
They just treated, and he was acting like he was a movie star.
This
and he
huge
was in this,
cocked, sizzled chest.
Yeah, his giant cock. Pulsed with wonder as I pulsed like the star of India sapphire as I stared down upon it.
His Adam's apple bobbed as he said.
I begged him to shimmy down my Venetian blinds and into my jewel room. So,
how do you, as a journalist, fucking write that, even in the 70s?
They ask him. This is so funny because every article when he's in prison, they kept asking him about homosexuality in prison. People were fascinated with that back then. His quote on this is great. In their own words, quote, "Every young man growing up wants to express his manhood. Then they throw him in an unnatural environment like this and it explodes. They wonder why. But they don't bother me. I'm a gangster."
He said with a twinkle in his eye.
I'm a gangster and a born-again Christian, and my appeal is valid, so let me out of jail. I'm a good guy. I'm a gangster.
They don't fuck me because I'm a gangster.
In the article...
But I'd like to go back home, please.
Please. And this is the same article that they're fluffing him up, fucking jerking him off, talking about his sapphire cock and his beautifully manicured fingernails and how articulate he is.
His ruby red cockhead.
Ridiculous, dude. This is so ridiculous. In 1972, he takes up painting. Douchebag.
What? With his cock,
just his ruby cock, just moving it back and forth. At this point, he's got a common law wife, Connie, more white trash fucking thing.
Connie Lynn or some shit.
Even the article, even with the girl called her his 27-year-old common law, or his common law wife, Connie, quote, a beautiful 27-year-old woman.
Jesus, I want to punch this fucking
It's
journalist.
just such a fluff
asshole.
piece.
Yeah.
He's saying she sets up exhibits to sell his paintings, so he has money in there and money for his appeals, and his paintings sell well.
Yeah.
And I've seen his paintings. You can get them now. He still paints. They're like total just douchebag ocean watercolors, like fucking you'd see in a bad hotel room that hasn't been updated.
He's no Bob Ross.
Yeah, like no nice comfort in print, asshole. It's terrible.
You're no Ansel Adams, motherfucker.
Yeah, and we get to like 74-ish, and he says another quote, another in their own words. He's got a lot of in their own words, this guy. He loves to talk. And there's so much more that we could be here for hours.
I all of a sudden hate this fucking man.
You're going to hate him even more. Because he's such a fucking tool. I just don't like him. And I feel like he's a sociopath, and he's smart, and he sees things, and he knows how to play an angle. And this is an angle that he plays hard, and it's just ridiculous. Well, he says, okay, this quote, "What's important to me now is different from what was important to me years ago. I plan on being out of here pretty soon, and I understand what I'll have to do to make it on the outside." That's such a bullshit parole hearing thing to say. And
I know where the fucking Joann's fabric store is in my neighborhood. I'll get my paints. I know how to get through this life.
It's okay. So
fuck you, man.
Now we come to 1974.
Meanwhile, listen, I work my fucking ass off trying to make it in this world, and this guy's just got the magic theory. Go fuck yourself, man.
And he does, too. That's the thing. You try and scale down Venetian blind cords. They would have found you with a broken fucking neck at the bottom of the cords.
I'd be hanging from it, just tangled in my fucking...
Broken neck with the cords wrapped around your legs, just dangling you there with your neck barely broken on the marble floor.
How did he... Where are the jewels?
Here.
How come he didn't get away?
Never even got the jewels. And I'd be on top of you with my leg broken, twisted behind me, going, thank God he broke my fall as they took me to jail. It'd be fucking ridiculous. So he meets a gentleman, an ex-NFL player in 1974, comes to the prison with his ministry.
Who the fuck is it?
It's a man named Bill Glass. He's an ex-NFL player, played for Detroit and some championship 60s Cleveland teams. from 58 to 68, a 4-time All-Pro in the NFL, defensive end and tackle.
Oh, God.
I'm going to give you one guess what color his hair is, Jimmy.
How silver fucking haired this cocksucker is.
Silver-haired. He's as silver-haired and as middle-aged and as white of a man as you get at this point, Jimmy. Just coming in.
And he brings his ministry.
Fluffing up their sapphire cocks all over the place, man. And this, apparently he sees, Murph the Surf sees how this guy operates.
Yeah.
And it's so fucking funny, too. If you take, I'm going to give you this next in their own words, and take the first half of it, and don't take the rest of it, because I think the first half of it is what he really meant to say, and then he needed to add the last half of it to put his bullshit over, okay? So this is after meeting Bill Glass. Quote, in their own words, quote, "Suddenly the pieces of the puzzle came together. I started to think differently. I began to really understand Christianity and how it could affect my life in a positive way." Cut it off after I started to think differently.
Yeah.
That's what he started to do. He started to go, that's the angle to
I know
play.
how I can manipulate this fucking system.
I need to go all out with it. I just said I was a born again, but I have to actually not run a gambling ring.
I got to start fucking quoting scriptures and planting flowers in the fucking garden.
So I'm pretty sure, that's what happened. So he starts doing that. Now he's all Christian-y.
Yeah.
A feature film, a major Hollywood feature film in 1975 comes out about his life called Murph the Surf.
Wow.
It is starring Robert Conrad.
Wow.
And Burt Young.
Get the fuck out of here.
It's a fucking real Hollywood movie. It's not a shit B movie or anything like
Wow.
that. This is a major, released in the theaters, not a midnight, whatever. It's a real
That's
movie.
unbelievable.
That's released about his life. He's even more famous at this point. And in this movie, too, let's just say they don't really talk too much about the murders. It's mostly about the jewel heist and the lifestyle and all that. They don't really get into, then he wrapped concrete fucking weights around two secretaries' necks and dumped them in a swamp.
Poured some concrete in a Folgers can and bungee cord that to two square broads' necks.
There's no scene in the movie where he's holding a 55-year-old lady by the hair going, "I will pour fucking boiling water all over your goddamn 8-year-old niece. You don't tell me where the fucking safe is." That part's not in the movie.
I hope he at least cold-cocked Ava in the goddamn movie.
No, that's out too. Yeah, none of that. So,
This is for that goddamn pig.
This guy, and he's in prison. Like we said, these girls are dead. Ava Gabor's punched in the fucking face. We have, this poor woman, her thankfully unharmed niece, but her robbed and traumatic ass, 2 dead people, prison riots, and people in gambling rings, and Christianity, and all this shit. And this is all going. I feel bad for everybody, Jimmy. I feel so bad for these people. But not as bad as I feel for Jack Murphy. Editor-in-chief of SoftRep.com.
How Irish is that motherfucker?
A Columbia-educated former Army Ranger.
Holy shit. He's a bad man.
Jack Murphy, Executive Vice President and Head of Sales for Business Banking at Citizens Bank in Boston.
Shit.
Important guy. Jack Murphy, Adjunct Professor at John Jay College of Fire Science Institute.
That sounds badass.
Jack Murphy, President of J. Murphy and Associates, Inc., Expert Witness Mediator and Arbitrator. And of course, Jack Murphy, Vice President of Finance at Shift Gig, an internet company based in Chicago, Illinois. Obviously those guys.
Yeah, people with impressive fucking titles other than murderer.
That's the second week in a row we've had an expert witness in our mistaken identities, by the way. How weird is that? So if you rape or kill somebody, someone with your name can testify on your behalf.
All right, on your behalf.
So he's doing this in prison. He's gone full Christian, blown out. Prolapsed fucking Christian.
Yeah.
Blown the fuck out, man.
Yeah.
It's all full-on Christianity.
He knows it all.
He's
Genesis
preaching.
to Revelations.
He's Mr. Change Your Life.
Yeah.
He's prophesized. He's into this so hard. He is not supposed... His first earliest parole date is supposed to be November 2005. Okay?
Oh, my God.
That's the first time they're even supposed to sit down and look at this
Just
fucking
11
idiot.
years ago. From 70 fucking
From
1.
71, because he's got two life sentences plus 20 years.
Right.
So they're like, sit for a while.
Right.
We'll get to you.
Sit for 30 years and we'll talk about it later.
You don't have the paperwork, and you're at the DMV, you don't have any of your paperwork, and they're like, go sit over there, we'll get to you later. You're fucked. We're going to take care of the guy who just needs a picture quick. Sorry.
Right. You're essentially Beetlejuice with that long-ass
That's
tape.
what it is,
And
yeah.
the guy next to you is number 3.
Yeah, and he shrinks your head. That's what he is. So this guy, he's not supposed to be paroled there, but somehow... This is why I say, holy shit with this deal. He is paroled.
Get out of here.
In 1986.
What the fuck?
He's paroled. He's not even supposed to have a hearing for 19 years, and he's paroled.
He's paroled after murdering and threatening to fucking maim an 8-year-old.
Yeah.
And pistol whipping and beating up a woman.
And constant escalating to robberies, lifestyle escalating up to murder.
He has a murder with the nickname. He has a hashtag.
He has a branded murder. It's his brand.
And he's out after 11 years.
He's out.
What year was it? 86? So 15 years he's out.
Yeah, it's ridiculous too. And the people in charge helped him get this hearing.
What?
You know the kind of hoops you'd have to jump through to get a parole hearing 20 years early, 19 years early.
Where's that judge that told him to fuck off? Did that guy die or retire? What the fuck?
To be in normal society.
Where are you at, sir?
Jesus, can we get that guy again? No, apparently the head of the prison system, this Wainwright asshole, who was the head of the prison system, testified on his behalf at the parole hearing.
Wow.
He's the head of the prison system.
Oh my God.
I'm sure, God, for everything that Crime in Sports stands for, this man was silver-haired and middle-aged as they
white
get.
as fuck.
Oh my God.
Milquetoast.
Jesus Christ, he looked like Ted Knight, this guy probably is. Middle-aged and silver hair as anybody has ever been in the history of the world. Asshole. So he gets out. As he's leaving there, they ask him for a quote, and he says, "I'm going to do God's work." Asshole. Fucking asshole. Conditions of his parole include a $2,500 donation to Meals on Wheels.
What?
That makes up for double murder. Yeah. And a restriction on returning to Dade and Broward counties where the crimes were committed. Yeah. We don't want you down here.
Stay out of the concrete.
Stay out in the sticks, guy. We don't need
Stay
you over
away
here.
from the concrete.
Good Lord.
Swamps.
When he's paroled here outside the thing, he's asked outside the building. He's asked by a little exchange with a reporter, which this tells me he's A, full of shit, and B, an asshole. Okay, right here, 1 and 2. Question: did you ever commit murder? Answer: no. Question: will you ever be able to convince people that you didn't commit murder? Answer: they didn't believe Jesus Christ.
You're not Jesus Christ, motherfucker.
They didn't believe. This is what I mean. He's such an egotistical lunatic. You can't reform that way of thinking. This is after parole. He can't even fake it. He's been out for 5 minutes. No. They didn't believe Jesus Christ. I'm being persecuted just like. And it's so funny because in the psychiatrist reports from the 60s, part of it has a complex of persecution. Yeah. That was part of his antisocial.
That's his diagnosis.
Was constant persecution complex. There, everyone's out to get me. They're gonna get that. So I mean, ridiculous, man. At this point, he gets out and he starts preaching. He starts going. As of 2006, he is preaching in 200 prisons a year. By that point,
he's on the prison circuit.
And
he's being. See, that he did have a plan.
He goes on the prison circuit.
It's going to be 118 here tomorrow.
Yeah.
And this son of a bitch is in air conditioning.
We're in Phoenix, Arizona.
Talking about God.
Yeah, he is. It's insane.
And I'm going to go outside and work tomorrow. Son of a bitch.
And he says about this is what he says about it's another thing, too. It's another quote about going to prisons. This is years later. I think this was like 2000 he said this quote. He says, quote, this is after he goes to 200 prisons a year. He says, quote, in their own words, quote, "I hate going into prisons. They are the devil's junk pile. But I do it because people visited me and it meant a lot. I'm not doing anything different. It's just my turn. Jesus said, quote, you visited me when I was in prison, so it's a command of God to go to these prisons and anywhere people are down and out." End quote.
Did Jesus say that?
He's Jesus. He thinks he's fucking Jesus, this asshole.
He really does.
Oh my God, I want to tie a concrete weight around his neck
and
dump him into a swamp.
Jesus said that.
I'm sure he didn't. No. Or maybe he did. I don't know anything about religion. But it doesn't matter.
Was Jesus ever in prison?
Was Jesus... Well, I guess they didn't they... I assume they had to take him into a holding cell before they put him up on the cross, right?
I don't know.
They didn't take him right from getting fucking
according
pinched
to Mel
right
Gibson, they just beat the shit out of him till they pierced him.
Well, they did. They put him in a cave for a couple of days.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. Maybe is that imprisonment?
Did people go visit him there?
Wasn't he supposed to be dead? They didn't know. Okay, my lack of knowledge of religion is really going to take us down a rabbit hole, so we're going to get back to this.
Fuck Murph, man.
Fuck Murph the Surf.
I can't believe he's got this kind of arrogance about him.
And then, but people just keep jerking his sapphire cock. In 1996, he's inducted into the East Coast Surfing Hall of Fame.
Get out of here.
Yeah, they love him. East Coast Surfing, he's a pioneer.
Oh, my God.
In Florida, in 2000, the parole board ends his terms of parole. He's just
a free man?
Doesn't have to go anymore doesn't have to check in.
You're not saying
no
anything
longer
where
on
you're
parole.
going.
Ends his terms of parole. All of them largely, as they put it, due to his ministry work. Because they trust him so much that, you know what? Murder, it's all Jesus now.
Yeah.
It's all Jesus.
It's all Jesus all
Jesus.
the time.
I'm good now.
I'm good now.
I'm good now.
I got this silver-haired middle-aged white man.
Cocaine. So Eddie Johnson, guys, go back and check that out if you haven't heard Eddie Johnson. So this asshole hands out he goes to these prisons, he's got a Bible in his pocket, and he hands out copies of his book to the prisoners. It's called, quote, Jewels of the Journey.
Oh, boy.
Murph Talks to Wise Guys.
Wow.
And it's like his memoirs of talking to people in prison. He hands that out to inspire you.
Yeah.
And I want to be
There's something about me.
I want to be your middle-aged, silver-haired white man. That's what it is. It's fucking ridiculous.
Hey, how's your life? It sucks. Here's something about me.
Here's something about me.
Here's a happy journey that's not going to be yours.
Hey, this will make you feel good. It's about me.
This will make you want to fucking hang yourself with Venetian blinds.
This is about my cock. It's really intriguing. Read this article.
Read about my bulbous dickhead.
About how handsome I am. My wonderfully shaped penis. So, unreal, man. So this asshole in August of 2011, I love how we hate him now that he's like, we're like, fuck you.
I loved him in the 50s.
I loved him in the early 60s until he started killing girls and threatening them.
He was great with the 8-track of the fucking
I loved him,
fucking Beach Boys.
It's beautiful. I pictured him cruising around, racing the T-Birds.
Crooning.
It'd be great.
Yeah.
So he, in August of 2011, he got a nice little job here as the vice president of the International Network of Prison Ministries. So
I feel like he founded that shit, though.
He made no, that's
somebody else's shit. They hired him?
Yeah.
Somebody hired this motherfucker.
This guy, he's so charismatic. I mean, think about everything he did over time. He's super charismatic. Like, he knows how to do this. He gets
I want to punch him in the fucking face.
Every article says how electric he is.
Yeah.
He's so full of shit. Yeah. Especially like as a comedian, watching a guy on stage as a performer, you can tell when he's real and when he's not real. We know people. And when they're on stage, we're like, he's so full of shit up there. I want to punch him in the fucking face.
He's faking the fuck out of it.
He's such a fake.
He's trying to tell us this joke happened. That shit didn't even happen.
That didn't happen.
No,
you don't even think that. You're not even. That's not even your personality.
Right.
That's how I feel when he's doing this. But he's got to sell it. He has to sell because there's videos of him. There's promo videos of him with his arms up, shouting out the Lord.
Criminal Joel Osteen is what he is.
Yeah, exactly. But he's not even trying to bilk people with money. He's just going around to prisoners and trying to get them when they're at their lowest, which I think is even fucking worse. 2012, he tries to get his rights reinstated because he's off parole, but you still don't have voting rights, things like that.
He's like, I want to own a gun.
Yeah, he wants He wants his voting rights, all that. But the 3-person board in Florida, which includes 2 other people, I guess, and Governor Rick Scott. He's got the governor on his side. The other 2 said no.
How the fuck does a governor just be like, yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure. What the hell?
I could use your vote.
Why? Because he's a Republican and he's very Christian.
Yeah.
So all the he was presented to him by all the Christians.
All right.
We love this guy. He should have his. So he said, "Oh, okay." And it looks good to his
this guy will
constituency.
vote for you when you're up for election.
No offense to Republicans, but sorry, you're way fooled by that Christian
fuck
horse
your
shit.
Right wing.
You're just snowed by that Christian bullshit, and you'll believe these people because you want to believe that Christianity can change people because you think it's changed you, and it hasn't changed you or them.
No.
You are pretending and using that to pretend, which is fine. Right. Whatever keeps you from raping, pillaging, robbing, murdering, whatever keeps you from fucking doing that, fine. But don't
keep that shit to yourself.
Between me and you, I know that it's just you're controlling yourself. It has nothing to do with Jesus, you son of a bitch. Don't tell me you've changed.
That's keeping you from fucking your neighbor's wife.
You've just said I didn't like prison, is what you said. Fucking, oh my God. All right, end of rant there. So this article I saw, he's got this publicist who I just want to punch in the throat even more than him.
How does he get people on his goddamn side?
Tons of them.
People with a pen.
Oh, God. This is from an article from October 29th, 2014. His publicist's name is Dominic Fusco. Dominic Fusco. So I just picture him. I'm gonna talk
fat,
with
greasy.
like one of my uncle's accents with this guy. But
I'm just picturing a dirty fucking slime ball.
Yeah, and he's like, I'm picturing him going, hey, we'll get him some speaking gigs because he gets him speaking
Meanwhile, he
gigs.
can barely speak.
Yeah, he books him speaking gigs. Yeah. That's what he does here. He says
speaks better than I do.
He says, quote, Murph is just about the most talented guy you'd ever meet, but he wasn't great as a thief. That's what he says here.
He's a terrible thief.
He's fucking awful, this guy. You wouldn't believe it. He breaks into places, shimmying down valise. Get the fuck out of here with the blinds. Break in the guy.
Just read the Bible.
Get a fucking suction cup, asshole. What are you thinking? Oh, suction cup.
Leave the duct tape at home.
What's wrong with you? That's what he is, I think. So, Fusco insists that Murphy didn't kill the girls. He's allowed out on parole, still not admitting to the murders that he was convicted of.
Yeah.
When the fuck is someone let out on parole before they make good with that? Before they admit to it and all that shit? People are held forever because they won't just say they did it.
Right.
As he's walking out, they said, did you commit the murder? Nope. Well, I'm just like Jesus. That's all it is. They're just persecuting you.
Steve Avery, the guy in fucking Wisconsin.
He's learned nothing.
Yeah.
This fucking asshole. At least Stephen Avery's not pretending to be a Christian.
Right. Well, but he could have gotten time off
Maybe he is. I don't know.
of his sentence if he would have just admitted to it, but he won't admit to it. Well, whatever. That's neither here nor there.
Unreal. But
the point is, just fucking admit to it and you can get out sooner.
This guy, he got out anyway.
Right.
He gets out anyway.
Just fucking cop to it now. They can't double jeopardy, brother.
Jesus Christ. So he said, it's driving me nuts. So he says that fucking this Fusco idiot says that he acts as a gatekeeper, keeping the secular media away from him. The non-religious media. The media, in other words. There's no such thing as religious media.
I'm shocked Dominic knows the fucking word.
Yeah. What are you going to go report on the burning bush? There's no religious media. You're a fiction writer.
Right.
Not a journalist if you're religious media. You're just talking about things that are going on with people who are Christian. That's what religious media is, basically, I would assume.
Welcome back to WWJD News 5. I'm here at Noah's Ark.
Any Jesus people are going to fucking hate us after this. I'm sure you're nice. You didn't kill two people, then say you were a Christian.
Right.
You might have been an alcoholic, not paid attention to your first kid, whatever the fuck. That's fine. You didn't kill people, so this isn't about you.
To fucking ruin an 8-year-old's life.
Melt the skin off of her. Treat her like the Wicked Witch of the West, for Christ's sake. He's making a film about him, this Fusco guy, about his redemption, not about this bad stuff.
Yeah,
it's a film. Of course not. Because that's what we all want to watch, a film about a guy getting out of prison and being a fucking preacher for 25 years. That sounds exciting. He says the only reason he was in jail to begin with is because Murphy's a guy that wouldn't rat. He wouldn't rat on the people that really did it. So, he's a good guy. He's a good guy and he wouldn't rat. Let me tell you something about this fucking guy. He's stand-up, this guy.
He ain't no stupid.
Is that right? So this cockbag now, this dipshit, fucking Murph the jackass, sapphire-cocked surf, he's living in Crystal River, Florida.
Unbelievable.
He's got a wife named Kitten, got his grandkids running around.
Of course he does, Kitten.
He's got a good life. He's making money fucking talking to prisoners, doing all this circuit bullshit. And that's Murph the Surf. That's his life. I want him back in prison.
I want him to violate.
You want to preach? Fine. Preach to the other prisoners.
Yeah.
In there.
Right.
I want that other judge back on the case.
You had 3 hours a day. How much time are you preaching?
Preach away, knock yourself out, and then go back into your little cell where you can't murder any women.
He's got to be the luckiest person on earth. There's nobody
the
luckier
luckiest
than
person on earth. He's had, in that story, I counted 3 silver-haired middle-aged white men between Fusco, the
and we
football
got to him
player,
so late.
Fusco, Glass, and the Wainwright guy. That's 3 silver-haired middle-aged white men on his side. That's usually get 1, 2 tops.
Yeah.
You get 2 tops. He had fucking 3 on his side.
And the one spit shining his cock, that journalist, that's got to be silver-haired middle-aged white
journalists.
man. Yeah.
And all of the stories from back then were like that, Jimmy. They were all fluff pieces on him. They were all like the exciting jewel thief, the dashing. He was considered the coolest guy ever. I mean, in all these quotes too, he was like, "Yeah, man, I felt like Cary Grant, like a cat. I felt like a high class, like he's burgling in a tuxedo. Like I felt like Cary Grant." That's what he was saying. He loved the lifestyle. It went a little south,
right?
and then all of a sudden, you other people have to die for it because your sociopath ass can't deal with the consequences.
Turn up in a creek.
Couple square broads. So now we have a new rule, though. Don't involve square broads in your plan. That's our new rule, crime and sports rule. It's like rule number 7. We're really building them up, man. Rule: don't find religion until after you've committed your crime. It will help you get out of jail. Yeah. So that's another rule. Tom Paine found the wrong religion was his fucking problem. His problem was he found Islam, and he had a bunch of black people bringing petitions, and they were like, yeah, we get it.
Get out of here.
This guy had all sorts of silver-haired, middle-aged white men coming up going, he's changed. He's a changed man. He talks to the prisoners. He's going to make it better. They're going to get out and be just beautiful human beings, and they're going to... No, it's too late. You killed 2 fucking people. Not just by accident. He didn't get drunk and go on a rampage. It wasn't an act of passion. No. It wasn't he fucking had people help him do financial securities robbery. It wasn't even like he saw something shiny when I have to go grab that. Right. They planned an intricate financial thing and then lured the women to Florida and murdered them.
The only interest to murder them was to fucking cover up their horrible shit.
Pieces of shit. and he's out there, and every article now, too, is just, he's the greatest guy alive.
Unbelievable.
You will not see an article written about him in the last 20 years that has one bad thing to fucking say about this guy.
Well, now you got an hour and a half about it.
You have us, and that's it. Because crime and sports, like we said, we don't care what the courts say. We don't care what the media says. We make our own judgments.
For my own fucking opinion.
Crime and sports judges, fuck off. That's the verdict. Verdict of fuck off from crime and sports. Guys,
I hate you
that's
so
what you
much,
get.
Murph.
Fuck you, Murphy. Salute, you stupid dickhead. Unbelievable. So that's Murph the Surf, and we hope you guys enjoyed it a lot. And holy shit. I mean, thanks for joining us again, as always. You got to tell all your friends, please. The crime and sports movement. Tell everyone you know. Yeah. Force them. If you annoy people enough, they'll listen once, and maybe we can hook them.
Maybe we'll stick around. Yeah.
That's all we want. We want people to listen once, and hopefully you like what we do.
Yeah.
We're trying our best for you guys. We love it. We if you could see how much we put into this, it's ridiculous.
It's crazy.
And it's... we love doing it way more than any of you could like listening to it. So
no doubt.
Thank you guys
We're
for being there.
We're up late at night doing this.
Yeah.
Every time.
It's just the way it is, man. Yeah. And we're happy to do it.
I love it.
Thanks for joining us, as always, guys. You can follow us on social media. On Twitter, you can follow us at Crime and Sports, gmail.com, at crimeinsports@gmail.com. And
email us. Let us know something.
Email us. Yeah, email us. Talk to us.
Anything.
Facebook.com.
So fun.
/ crime and sports. Find us there. You can just look it up.
I can't get enough of people emailing from some other fucking country.
Dude, I love
even some other state.
I
some
love
other
the interaction.
Town.
Astoria, Sean, and Wedbetter. Thanks to you guys always, and Busby, like we said. And we have all these cool people that have really got on board and really helped to spread this thing. And that's what's important, man. We want to get more people listening, and we want to just make this as good as possible for you guys. So we're going to keep this going forever, as long as we can. As long as athletes fuck up, we will be here.
There's a list, a very long list. More and more every day.
More and more every day.
Every
guys.
day.
It's popping up. So, by the way, Baylor update, because I feel like we're stewards of this story because of the Carlton Dotson thing. Ken Starr, yes, that Ken Starr with Bill Clinton and all that shit, that special prosecuting dipshit, he stepped down as chancellor because they moved him over to chancellor.
Right.
Like, we'll just move him over. We'll slide him over in our organization. No. Still have to resign.
Still step down.
He stepped down as chancellor, so the Baylor program is unfucking raveling. And if you haven't listened to Carlton Dotson...
They're blowing that program up.
Yeah.
There's going to be nobody there.
They should have the death penalty like SMU got back in the day. Different things, but this is worse than recruiting players.
Oh, my God.
There's women assaulted.
This is terrible.
Jesus Christ. They had everything... It was almost like they could have had... The only thing worse would have been if they had Mel Hall roaming around the goddamn... roaming around the premises.
There are a lot of victims.
There's a lot. So, thank you guys so much. Jimmy, you want to give me your social media?
Yeah. Add Whisman Sucks, WHISMAN Sucks, on Twitter and Instagram, and one day I'll figure out Snapchat.
Nice. And I am at Jimmy P is Funny. You can find us there. Like we said, Tempe Improv, July 6th. Crime and Sports is the promo code.
Yes.
You guys get in for free because we love you. You have to hear us to get in for free.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you got to pay. And whatever. So come on down. See us there. And thank you guys so much. We will see you next week, where we will have another wonderful, wonderful, scummy, athletic person and a silver-haired, middle-aged white man and all the rest.
About somebody
Yes, we did.
before.
We did.
And just letting you guys know, we did not skip it.
We're not skipping it. It's just
there's still a lot of murder to cover.
The guy we're working on now. It's deep and it's before he was famous, so that's so sketchy, the details.
Very little paperwork.
And honestly, I just don't want to give you guys false facts. So I had all this research done and I'm ready to do it, and I'm like, you know what? I can't depend on all this stuff, and I don't know why I even care. I'm not a journalist. I'm a fucking comedian. I shouldn't care.
You know why?
But I fucking care.
You know why?
I do.
It's because we're not going to do some half-ass
it's
program
true.
and
I want this to be true.
Stroke some fucker's bulbous cock. We're not going to do it.
I'm looking through fucking newspapers from 1972, Jimmy. I'm doing like one of these guys in a library, you know, with the microfish flying by me in a dark room. Like, that's what I'm doing.
Like,
man.
You're researching the goddamn Zodiac.
I'm looking at Lakeland Ledger newspaper articles about, you know, a bail hearing from 1971. It's fucking ridiculous. So, I mean, we're trying so hard to make this accurate, and the more people that listen, the more pressure we feel to make it good. So people keep listening, and we keep feeling more pressure, and hopefully we keep doing better shows. That's what we're trying to do for you guys.
Rate and review on iTunes and come back
Please.
next week.
We love you so much.
We love you.
Thank you guys so much. We will see you next week live from the...
If you like crime and sports, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
In the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this White Zinfandel.
Well, good. Now put it down. I'm going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine. But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles,
a big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud,
sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Licciardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
With a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.